since a Pasadena teen was struck and killed by a driver along Mountain Road. The driver of a late 90s Ford Expedition took off that night, still out there somewhere. With no arrest in the case, Skylar Marion's family continues to tend an open wound, just recently holding a vigil on the one-year anniversary of the crash.
The vigil was meant to keep the memory of Skylar alive and maybe generate some more tips for police to investigate. But closing the case isn't the only unfinished business here, as at least one lawmaker is trying to turn Skylar's memory into a legacy. When the doors opened on the final Senate session in the 2014 Maryland General Assembly, Bill 241 was left behind.
That's Annapolis. Sometimes things fly through, sometimes they hit a wall you don't expect, and that's what happened this year. Anne Arundel County Senator Brian Simoneau's bill aimed at curbing hit and runs stopped short in Annapolis. The bill would have increased prison time for leaving the scene of a crash involving injury or death from 10 to 15 years, but it never got out of committee. Not expected, the senator said, but not altogether unprecedented either. Many times down here, a bill will not pass the first time. You try to find out what the opposition is. You come back second and third year, and eventually will pass. And that's what my goal is. I'm going to come down here. Hit and run cases aren't going away, and I'm not going to go away either. Neither will the inspiration for which his bill is dedicated. He and many others drive by this sign off Route 100 almost daily, reminding drivers the hit and run case of Skylar Marion is still very much unsolved. Despite efforts by police and even a growing pot of reward money for any tip leading to an arrest, the person who hit the Pasadena teen last year along Mountain Road and left him for dead is still out there.
Every day it gets harder and harder and harder. And a lot of people it gets easier, but when you have the person out there that turned around and took my son's life and they're still out there, you can't let it end.
It is a wound torn open every time Michael Marion drives by the scene. He and his boys cannot avoid it, as Mountain Road is the only way in and out of their part of Pasadena. They can't avoid the memorial that still stands in 15-year-old Skylar Marion's memory. They can't avoid the idea that whoever didn't stop is still out there.
I mean, one day, he's got to meet his maker, him or her, right? And then they'll be judged. But in our lifetime, I don't know. You got all these other hit and runs and everything. I'm not by myself.
Not even close. This past February, we showed you how, according to the Maryland State Police and the Highway Safety Office, Anne Arundel and Baltimore counties, along with Baltimore City, show an overall increase from 2010 through 2012 of hit and runs involving personal injury or death. Marion is counted in the 2013 stats, which have yet to be finalized by the state. But these numbers are still lives and are moving in an alarming direction.
Amen.
It has been a year for the Marion family. Still no arrest, still no closure. They organized this candlelight vigil on the anniversary of Skylar's hit and run as a way to keep the memory of him alive while reminding people the case still needs closing. A message punctuated by pain they hope is loud enough to reach Annapolis again next year.
In Anne Arundel County, it's been devastating. And if you talk to the people, as you have, you find out it's devastated their life, and they want some serious penalties associated with this.
Now, the senator's bill wasn't a complete failure this year. It also called for an education component, and the NVA said it would go ahead with that either way. So now, in driver's education classes all over the state, teens are being taught to stay at the scene of an accident no matter what. As for the driver who hit Skylar Marion and kept going, police believe the person was behind the wheel of a Ford Expedition. The model year is estimated between 1997 and 2002. The SUV would have had damage to the front and passenger side. Skylar's family has raised $20,000 for the reward to find the driver. Now, you see stories like Skylar's and think, what kind of a person could hit someone and just keep driving? Well, we talked to an expert about the psychology behind hit and runs and the mindset of a person who just drives away. You can find that interview on our website at abc2news.com/infocus.